All right, it's another great day in this thing. A little rainy out here, so I gotta be careful on the road. So today's daily page was Learn to Love the Details, I believe the title was. And the example it gave was of, I believe it's Aaron Rodgers. When he first got to the Green Bay Packers, I believe. I'm not a big football fan, so I don't really follow. So I hope I'm getting this right. When he first got to the Green Bay Packers, he was forced to sit. It said it sidelined him for 3 years and forced him to become an understudy to Brett Favre, who is the first string quarterback. So it said, as frustrating as that was for him, what it forced him to do was to sit and analyze everything that went on in the game. It forced him to analyze the game itself, his personal technique when it came to his approach to being a quarterback, and all the little details that would make for greatness. So I think that's a good metaphor for how you should be approaching life. You know, when you're brought onto the team humanity, you know, everybody sees what everybody else is doing and they're hungry to just get in there and play the game. But if you rush it and you're not paying attention to the details, you could actually be stunting your growth. So I believe that's a good thing. You got to get a hold of your impatience, and you have to force yourself to sit and study the minutiae. It's a good word. I looked up the definition to minutiae. I think the definition is all the small. I don't think it used the word unimportant, but all the very small details is what the minutiae is. So, it's kind of cold. Let's turn on the heater a little bit. And let's see what else. That's pretty much it. Had a bunch of dreams. Let's talk about addiction a little bit. I have a very addictive personality, and this will connect to the topic of dreams. If I like something, the kind of addictive quality I have, if I like something, anything, it's anything. When I was a kid, it was video games. So the way it works for me, if I like something, I want to do it more and all the time. And for me, that's anything. It's video games when I was young. When I got older, let's just say, to be blunt, sex and drugs. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So I got all that under control right now. I think maybe that just came with age. But last night I had a bunch of dreams, all revolving around drugs. Smoking pot, that was my biggest one. Pot. I experimented a little bit here and there with other substances, but that was very super infrequent, maybe less than a handful of times. Just a couple times. But the pot was a big one. That was always a main staple in my life for many, many years. And dream after dream last night was nothing but that. It all revolved around pot. So something's trying to get into my head, and I refuse to relent. You will not defeat me. Because right now I'm very, very sober. No drugs, no drink, no alcohol, none of that. So I'm enjoying the clarity of mind that comes with sobriety. You know, I used to really enjoy the stimulation of the cannabis on my mind. But there was always like this veil of, I think I talked about this in another video. There was always like a veil of like this haze of just the edge wasn't there. Just a little bit of a dullness to my mind. And now that I've gotten past that and I'm seeing through a clear lens, it's like the fingerprint on my camera lens has been cleaned. So now it's a perfect picture. And I'm enjoying this a lot more. So everybody out there struggling with something like that, if you can make it to the other side, I suggest making small steps towards that goal. Because the truth is, you're just augmenting yourself with something that's not naturally there. And who knows what it I know it could be. It's fun. That's why people like drugs. They're fun. Not gonna lie, but it becomes like, for people like me with addictive personalities, it goes from fun to just a necessity. That's when it's not fun anymore. Like your whole schedule and your whole life revolves around when's the next time you're gonna get stoned, and it's too much. I can't do it. I don't like that, because now it was controlling me. Like everything I did, was dictated by that, and I don't like that. I like being in control of myself. I'm real rebellious to begin with, and so when that hit me and like, this is in control, I'm like, nah, forget that. I'm in control. Screw that. And it took me a while to get here, but now I'm under control when it comes to that, and I enjoy this more. I gotta be careful. These streets are very slick. It's like the first rain in a while, so they say normally the road's pretty slick when it comes to that. But yeah, loving the details. Learn to love the details. So how can I tie that into addiction? Learn to love the details of your life. See, okay, you're overlooking something if you're going to drugs as your hack to feeling better. There are some details that you are not addressing. And I suggest that gets done sooner than later, because you don't want to end up, you know, if you're young now, say you're in your early 20s, whatever, you're really still just a kid. You know, I'm almost 50 years old now. I'll be 49 this coming March. It's what, February 16th today, I believe. So I'll be turning 49 on March 9th. So from this perspective of a 49-year-old, your 20s, you think you're an adult. You're really not. You have just entered legally into adulthood. But mentally, I would say for the most part, you guys are still kids. I see you guys out there. You still look like high school kids. You still behave like high school kids for the most part. There are some very mature 20-year-olds, and chances are their life has given them that maturity. But these groups of, you know, I see these young guys walking around in packs. I always use dog terminology. See these packs of guys walking around with their vapes, and they just still look like a bunch of kids. They just have that aura to them, that vibe of immaturity. And I remember being there. I remember being in my 20s. But my situation was slightly different because I got married at 21. I took on the mantle of adulthood in a way that most young men these days are not doing. And it's probably smarter. I was probably very dumb to do what I did, but I did it. 21, got married, had a kid right away. So I was living the life of what we think of as being an adult, right? I was a parent. No, I was very responsible for quite some time. But looking at it from now, from the perspective of a 49-year-old, I mean, even now there are some very immature things about me, I guess. My impatience being one of them. That's always been an issue for me, is patience. And I'm learning to work on that and catch it when it happens. A big thing is my driving. Normally a madman on the road. Or in the past I had been. But I'd say maybe in the last let's see. For a while I didn't have a car. Years, really. Years and years and years. Didn't have a car. And now just recently I've acquired one. And now it just seems like I'm not in a hurry to do anything. Really. But especially driving, because it's just safer that way. That's why I've adjusted a lot of my habits to that's what it is. Adjust the habits that, okay, for me, when it comes to the driving and my impatience, it's not impatience really. I just love the feeling of the speed of a car and blasting past other cars. It's a glorious feeling. And that is something that's very addictive. See, it's another thing about me. I'm an adrenaline junkie, and if I feel it and I love it, I want more of it. So that feeling of just completely blasting past the car doing 65 when I'm doing I'm not gonna lie, upwards of, when I used to drive really bad, like upwards of 90 miles an hour. You see, it's because I drove a truck. Had I not drove a truck, these cars wouldn't feel like little go-karts. So when you step into one of these things after driving those big, lumbering, gigantic diesel trucks, this feels like nothing. You just and then you see lines as a professional driver. You see lines of open lane. Like I can squeeze through there and blast past 2 lanes, just to make it over there to the fast lane. You do that quick. And I guess maybe impatience could calculate into that, but it's really not. It's that feeling of adrenaline. It's amazing, but it's at times not be safe. It's funny too, because the one time I had an incident in a car. Both of them were not my fault, and I wasn't even speeding. One of them I wasn't even driving. I had parked, and me and my girlfriend were getting out of the car. Well, I was getting out of the car, and where I parked, there's like a small lane for bikes, and then the first lane. So I had plenty of room to open my door, because if anything, it was opening into that small little bike lane. Shouldn't even be a car right there. If anything, maybe a person on a bike. So I opened my door, and to get out of my car, I was just about to get out of my car. Opened the door and even felt my body make the movement to get out of the car and get out of my car. And another car that was riding in that bike lane smashed into my door. Pushed it clean forward. So that's one. And then another time that actually I guess this happened right before the period of time where I didn't have a car for a while, this is what caused that to happen. A truck changed lanes into me. I wasn't even doing anything. I guess he just didn't see me, and he went to change lanes and hit me. So for all my crazy driving, that's the two incidences that I've had when it comes to that type of event. So now I like to drive 60 to 65 miles an hour. I know everybody's like, 60, that's slow. But my trick is I stay behind these big trucks. I've said this in another video, I'll say it again. So I know people don't like to be behind these big trucks. So they'll go around for the most part. So I know if there's a big truck, big delivery truck in front of me, I give him about 2 car spaces of space between me and the back of him. And I know people behind me will see that, and they'll go around me. So typically there's no one behind me either for a while. So that gives me a nice big pocket of safe space to drive in if you go about 60, because the big trucks are supposed to drive 55. But normally they'll do a little 5 mile an hour over. So they'll do about 60. And I'm okay with doing 60 because 1, it's easy on gas. 2, it creates that little pocket of safety for me. So that's what I do. And that helps curb that little speed demon I have. Because I can't go any faster. There's a truck. So even if there's no trucks on the road, that's still my habit now. It's become my mental habit. Just cruise in the slow lane and let everybody else be in a hurry. I have plenty of time to get where I'm going anyways. So those are the small details that I've learned to love. And I've learned to see that by driving in the slow lane. Oh, no one wants to be around the trucks. Okay, I'm gonna hang out with you guys. Plus, truck drivers are very safe drivers. They have to be, it's their job. They don't want to ding on their license because the insurance goes up, especially if you're an owner operator and you have to pay for your own insurance. If you're just a driver for a company, you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. But when you own your own truck, it's a whole different world. So that's why I hang out with the truck drivers. I didn't like being one, but I will hang out with them, at least on the road. What else? Small details. Learn to love the details. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers had to sit for 3 years doing nothing, just studying the game. Right? That's the word they use. He was an understudy to Brett Favre. And it must have been frustrating as heck because I know he just wanted to get out there and do something. But he was forced to sit and observe. Which really might have been part of the plan. They might have seen something so special in him that if he got out there too soon, he might have created bad habits. So they probably knew if we just make him sit for 3 years and force him to just observe everything that's going on, just take it all in, and his mind will crystallize around the smallest details because he'll have nothing but time to just sit and watch, and he will see it all. And he did. I don't follow football, so I don't know how good Aaron Rodgers is. If anybody knows, throw me a comment and let me know. I know the name Brett Favre. I don't even really know the name. I know the name Aaron Rodgers, but I thought he was a baseball player until I started to read. Maybe there is a baseball player named Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I'm not a football or a baseball guy. My sport was basketball. I followed basketball religiously from about 1997 all the way to all those Laker championships with Kobe and Shaq. Those are my basketball years. But after Kobe passed, just lost all the love for the game. So yeah, I love the details. There's people speeding around me right now. People coming up on my butt. You can go around. You got all those other lanes. What else? Where I work now, you have to love the details, because every step of the production line is nothing but one small detail, especially when it comes to wire attach level, because the device I'm involved in making incorporates wires that are thinner than a human hair. So those have to be, I'm not exactly even sure how they're attached, whether it's a small weld or a solder of some sort. I should probably know this, but that's not my process anyways. But I know when it comes to checking if there's a defect in the device, which at my level I catch because I test the device to make sure it works. If something's not working, the most common error, not even error, the most common defect is a broken wire. And that just I think that's almost impossible to mitigate as being the number one error. It's not an error, because even if the operator does everything right, those wires are so small they could just break. I mean, smaller than the width of a human hair. That's crazy. And there are techniques when it comes to attaching those wires. This one dude I work with, his name's Trevor. I think he's a very important part of what goes on, because he's part of wire attach. And I've even seen him like with the tweezers under the microscope and doing everything that he does. He's got to hold his hand in like a weird position just to get the technique down right. So he's mastered the detail of that, even the positioning of the hand for proper utilization of those hand tools under that microscope. He's mastered the detail. So like, he's not just somebody that can be swapped out. Oh, let's just put a new guy at that level. Nope, can't do that. You need experience. And he has mastered the minutiae. I think that's what sets apart masters from whatever level down a master is. What's the next level down? An apprentice is like a student. And I don't think you go from student to master right away. You go from student to like, novice? I don't know. But even then, I think a novice is like an apprentice, would be considered an apprentice. Like a novice is like somebody that's you're new to this. You're still learning. Well, I think after all these years, this guy Trevor would be considered a master at his particular operation. I think most of us are, really, with whatever we're doing at that job, because they have to certify you as being capable to do what it is you're doing. And I know at some levels, like if there's some sort of mistake that can be made, I know the device can, to a certain degree, can be reworked. So it's not that much of a loss other than time. Time, and you put out a little bit of money in terms of the manpower on the first go. But after a certain point, and I think it might be after wire attach, once those wires are attached, that's it. Once that whole thing is molded in silicone, that's it. There's no going back. The whole thing has to be scrapped out if something goes wrong. And at my level, I catch what went wrong. I think I'm very fortunate to have to be at the level that I am at the very end of the line where I just test it. I'm not really responsible for the actual construction of the device. It's constructed by the time it gets to me. I just get to test it. See who screwed up where. Somebody did something wrong. No, it wasn't me. I just get to catch it. So I'm blessed in that regard. A little bit of pressure's off. And the only frustrating thing about my level of occupation is I'm restricted in terms of how fast I can go, because these machines test, it's a whole automated system. So I just load up the device, make sure all signals are there, and then I hit go. So if I want to go faster, I need more machines, because I can only move as fast as the machine tests. Taking my time down this hill. It's not raining out here, but the roads are still very slick. I'm gonna get behind. I'm gonna get here. Matter of fact, I don't want to be where I'm at. I'm gonna get over here. This feels safer for some reason. Yep, almost to work. A little past the halfway point. A lot of mist because the trucks are kicking up all this mist from the wet roads. Let's just stay behind the truck. Now is not the time to be doing different things. Let's see what else. The details. See? The details of driving. I didn't like being in that shoulder lane. Normally that's where I like to be. But something about that felt wrong, especially with the water on the ground. And some for whatever reason, I saw myself hydroplaning into that little wall. I didn't like that vision in my head. So I got back over. Hey, that's a vibe. Small detail in my mind, and I adhered to it. Something was telling me, don't be here. This is not where you want to be. So I moved over. I can't wait to get a microphone. That's another detail that I'm going to address pretty soon. So at least I don't have to be talking all loud like this. Because I know everybody can hear the ambient noise of the car. And I have to talk over that so you can hear me. So I'm projecting a little more than I normally would. But whatever, not many people are listening to this anyways, if anybody at all. I listen to it back just so I can analyze myself. I catch myself misusing words and saying things that are wrong. That's fine, I'll get it right. It's not a big deal. Practicing. This is all practice. For what? I have no idea. But I'm practicing. Just trying to be coherent and articulate. Maybe semi-entertaining if I can. I need more topics to talk about. That's why I'm going through that book day at a time, so hopefully whatever the page for the day was will give me enough material in my mind to talk the whole way to work. And it's only about a half-hour drive. So that's my video at the moment. Half-hour chunks. And hopefully, maybe, if anybody listens, somebody will learn something. I don't really say all these things for the people that know it, obviously. I know a lot of the things I say, that's obvious. No duh. But you know, maybe the inexperienced people of the world might need this kind of information. So that's why I say it. You know, the younger people out there who might not have, you know, done or been some of the things that I've did or have been. I'm hoping my life experience will help those that are less experienced. That's really what it is. don't think I'm dispensing any, super important knowledge for people to learn from. It's not my intent. I just know the things that I know. And I've learned the lessons that I've learned. Excuse me. And I've made some very bad choices in life, so I think the lessons I've learned from those, maybe if you're thinking about going down the road I've already been down, give it a second thought. Maybe don't do that. Or maybe take these things into consideration before you do. Maybe if you've already made your mind up, all right, gonna get married. Okay, wait. Let's put that on pause just for half an hour. Just because this is what happened to me. Although I don't think many guys would ever do what I did. I think most guys are trying to put that off as long as they can. Who the heck wants to get married at 21? I think that's pretty rare. Especially nowadays. Hey man. I had to put on my wipers for a bit. All the mist was accumulating. Well, coming up on the truck scales pretty soon, which means my video's almost done. Still trying to talk and not leave any dead air, so I'm just gonna ramble on about a big bunch of nothing, I guess. Just turn off the heater. I don't think we need this anymore. Good to go on that. This truck's getting over. So, he's gonna use the scales. I don't even think they're open, but he's getting over just in case. So is this truck. Maybe they're open. All trucks stop at scales. That's what it says. They're probably communicating. I know a lot of them jump on the CB. I think there's a standard channel for the 5 freeway. I know a lot of these truckers have standard CB channels for communication. They tell each other about accidents or, traffic holdups, or if there's CHP hiding out, they'll let each other know. Communication's always key. Almost there. Okay. Guys going into the scales, I can get back over. Alright. Let's not speak too soon, but another safe journey thus far. This is my exit. That's pretty much it. So learn to love the details. Everybody stay patient. Take your time in the rain. Didn't have a whole lot to talk about today. I should have checked the news also. I should read that page and then check the news and then see what kind of stupid drama I can come up on to just rant about. I'll do that next time. The news is always fun, all the stupidness that everybody's getting involved in, geopolitics and all kinds of dumb stuff in the world. Yep, that's about it. All this dead air. Sorry guys, my mind's still waking up. Alright, one more turn. It's pretty cool. Across the way there's a a Harley dealership, a Harley Davidson dealership, and I could see the logo on the building from here when I turned to go to my job. And that's all the way across the freeway, on the other side of the freeway, but I can still see it, and it looks really cool. It's just like the outline of the Harley Davidson logo, all in white. It looks pretty cool. Yep. Ha ha ha. I wonder where they manufacture Harley Davidsons. That'd be kind of cool to build Harleys for a living. Boop. And boop. Right. And I'm here. Now I can say I'm safe. I'm about to park. And that will conclude today's ramble of whatever I talked about. Okay, love the details, be patient, stay safe. Don't be in a rush. Just love what you do in life. 'Cause this is the one you got for this go round. Maybe there's a redo. Who knows? No one really knows. It's all speculation. All right, let's go to work.